I think. It
I'm
usually
gonna
takes a
check it
couple
out.
moments for
This
it
is
to
our
pop
first
up.
time. We're virgins. Be gentle with us. Um, we're
Uh,
trying to figure out if it's working on the internet.
yeah. So, this is
This is
this
Katrina's
is.
specialties. I'm just here. Just here to enjoy the
I want
ride.
to make sure that the sound sounds good, that we know exactly what the settings need to be.
If anybody's listening, please, we will welcome your feedback.
Oh
We
wait,
are
I
just
think I found it. Hold on.
because I don't see it on my Facebook page right now. But you tagged me, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
you did it. Amazing.
it's it's
It's
on
working.
my Facebook. It's
Working. It's working.
working. Welcome
Yay.
to Unstructured and Unsupervised.
Right. Which is so funny because throughout the week we were misspelling
I cannot
unsupervised,
spell unsupervised without. I
unsurprised.
want to say unsurprised all the time. It's so annoying.
So like, you guys catch any typos that sometimes say unsurprised? Just know
It's
that
like, I'm
you're working.
sorry. I don't mean to spell things wrong. And okay, we originally wanted it to be just unstructured because
Right.
that's what we wanted to do. We are people that are not very structured and need structure.
Right.
And this is how much structure I don't have. Look at my nails right now. I have
Oh,
one
girl.
hand that's painted and I got distracted.
I think it's beautiful because you know what? You need contrast in the world. You need a little bit of both. So you made time for one and then you made time for something else, and that's beautiful.
I don't even
So right
remember what distracted me.
before we started, okay, so perfect. Okay, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, okay.
I'm gonna have
So
my comments pulled up, so I'll respond while we do the thingy.
okay,
Um,
well, while we're doing the thingy, is that we were talking right before we started on here, and we're like, oh, should we take a minute to like have a Zen session or a Zen moment? And I was like, let's wait until we are actually online
ooh, yeah.
because I feel like sometimes as humans, we go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and we don't actually give ourselves like at least 30 seconds of a transition to do so. So I'm going to ask you and I together to just close our eyes for a moment, and we're going to take 3 deep inhales in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Oh wait, are you
Just
starting right
for
now? Am I breathing right now?
we're going to close our eyes right
Okay.
now, and then we're going to inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Last one. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll open our eyes back up, coming back into the present moment. And like just taking a minute to say thank you to one another because you took the effort to like get all the technical stuff together and make it work because I am totally incompetent when it comes to technological stuff, although I'm trying to learn, but computer stuff is crazy. And
I think you
um,
literally said the other day, computers are crazy. Computer stuff is crazy.
computer stuff is crazy.
It
Computer stuff is
is.
crazy.
Look, it is.
I'm like,
It's
I
crazy.
bow to you people who know how to do the
No, don't
computer.
bow to people because of their.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm not bowing down to anyone. I bow
Bow to your.
I bow in gratitude to
Oh.
those who know things that I don't, and I don't quite understand. And my brain sometimes doesn't have the patience to fully understand the technicalities of those things. So I respect you guys who do know how to do that, even though I am totally not sure what the fuck you're talking about at times. But hey, I love you. Thank you because you're making this happen.
Thanks. I
And
love
for me,
you. Thank you
I love
for.
you
Thank
too.
you for. Thank you. I bow to you for uh, being like totally on board with this endeavor because I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, there's like I don't know if I know anybody else who I would be completely comfortable as to like, yeah, let's just get on a camera without any plan and just like figure it out.
I love
Because
it.
it's like when I was doing, I mean, I still do my like podcast. It's like I don't even know what to call it because I don't have structure. And I'm like, well, I want to do this every day. I want to do gaming stuff is what I was doing. And then other times I'd just be like, all right, let me just talk to myself on camera about my existential crises that I don't care about. Like, if anybody has a problem with what I'm going to say, as long as I know that I can say what I want to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm totally 100% with you on that. On my I don't have a podcast or anything like that again because
Now you
technically
do!
now I do. Now I do. Hey now. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I do Instagram video. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, the wave. I hope you all learn how to surf because Katrina and I like to make waves.
I don't know how to surf
So
though. I do want to learn how to surf, but
me neither. We'll call Lori.
it's one of those things.
Um,
Lori!
Lori Palmentary, we love you.
Shout out
In case
Lori!
like we can't just mention Lori and then people are like, "Who's Lori?" Because we have strangers that are paying attention to what we're talking about and they're like, "We don't know this girl." Well, look her up. She's cool. Um,
But
so
nobody's a
I
stranger.
forgot.
Everybody is just a friend you haven't gotten to know yet.
That's right. Exactly. I forgot what I was just going to say before that. I had a
Oh,
thought.
you know what? I
This is
have
what
a
we're
whiteboard.
doing.
This is
80
oh.
moment.
You know what I forgot to do already is set the alarm.
Right. Oh, damn it. Damn, Daniel. All right, it's 7:16, so you got to set it for 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And at 8 o'clock, when we end, it's just like, okay, we're done.
It's like we're done.
Like we don't
Oh, wait,
have an
wait.
ending.
Yes. Should we do it where we have to end at 8? Like regardless as to if we're running late or not? Or should we do it where it's an hour from when we start? I kind of think we should do it where it's 8 o'clock. But if you don't want to do it like that, because I know that life is life, we were late today with this.
We were late today. I think we should honor the full hour of something that we committed ourselves to do. And
Yes.
if we start at 7:05, then we'll end at 8:05. And at any
So-
given day, because we're unstructured and we're unsupervised and we don't have our shit together all the
so
time,
52
then we will
minutes.
figure it out as each episode goes because we realize that life has different moments all the time and being yourself and trusting yourself in each moment as they come, you go with the flow. Life, as you said the other day, is literally improv. So
Yes, all of
here
life
we
is
are.
improv. So, okay,
It
so I
is.
set the alarm. We have 51 and change minutes. And then when you
Great.
hear this sound, it means it's, or should we choose a different one? Should it be more fun?
Yeah, that was
No.
like, that was nothing exciting.
No, tell me when you like it.
Ooh, spooky. I like it.
That one? Okay, that was today.
Let's just hear a few more.
Okay, I like it.
I know, because I'm like, wait.
No, I hate that one.
Okay.
This one's really intense. No.
Hey, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
No, no.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know all these by now. Oh. That's so, like, peaceful.
This is the one I wake up to in the morning because it's like, hey, wake up. Hey, wake up, rather than like,
I have to change my alarms. I do like this one. It's like peaceful to me.
Okay, let's do it.
We have 30. Wait, 50
Okay.
minutes 36. Okay. Anyways,
Deep breath.
I did.
Remembering to breathe is great.
I
Just wanted to
actually
get-
have with me a whiteboard that when we get sidetracked on things, we can figure out how to come back by using the whiteboard.
Oh, how smart. All right. So we already forgot like 4 things that we started to say.
Well, you were
So,
saying all of life is improv. And
All life
it
is
really,
improv.
really is.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't, you have to kind of take things as they come. You know what I mean? I was talking about this at lunch today. I went to lunch, had a ladies' luncheon with my stepmom. and my
it's to the
sister.
ladies who lunch.
The
Rise!
ladies' luncheon. It was the ladies' luncheon, and we had so much fun. I'm going to tell you all about it. Okay.
Okay.
We were sitting at lunch, and this boat drove by.
Do boats
Um,
drive?
what?
Like
Say,
you were
say
sitting
motor boat?
like it was a boat.
You guys can see me say motor boat. Sorry.
Wait.
We
But
were
was it on
both
the water or was it on a car that was being driven?
no, just married on the boat. The people put a sign up said just married.
Okay.
That's a boat? Is that a boat?
It's like
Okay,
there was
but
a. Okay, I'm listening.
okay. So just married goes across. So everybody start. So okay, let's not say everybody, but Nicole started yelling at the people because I was like, "Woo! You have a sign that says just married." So I was like, "Woo woo! Good for
It's
you!"
right
And
backwards.
everybody else started cheering along too because now they all saw that there's this beautiful couple that just got married. Let's celebrate them. 10 seconds after the just married boat goes around the corner, a giant ferry of people comes by from Fire Island. I'm like, are you guys single? Woo woo! And everybody started cheering to the single people. So it was like, it was
Huh.
really fun to have a whole crowd of the restaurant cheer. What are you doing math?
I'm trying to. Okay. So the way my camera is right now is like
Right?
reversed. But I like
Okay.
that it's kind of reversed because when I speak in this direction at this monitor, it looks like I'm talking to you. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm talking about? So I like that, but that means that I would have to figure out how to write things backwards. So that's what I'm doing. Is I wrote just married and it's backwards.
Right.
So I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to write and I can't just
Okay,
wait, so it's like
go ahead.
just
Right.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Married.
Yeah, I feel like capitals are easier to do than lower cases.
Yeah.
You did it. But now it's backwards when I'm reading it. So the way that you wrote it the first
Oh,
way, I could read it on my camera.
okay.
But then the other one, and it's backwards. Right.
Got it. Okay. So you saw this boat drive go past you.
So right. So we cheered the just married people on, and then 10 seconds later, the ferry comes around from Fire Island. We all start cheering like, "Are you single? Woo!" And
Just
it was just
single.
right, like all like the crowd of people. I just love energy exchange. Like I love when people like one little like ripple effect ripples into like the rest
A
of the
positive. A
restaurant.
positive.
A positive,
Because
correct?
negative won't be negative.
No, we don't want negative ones. We want
Don't
positive
want
ones.
negative one.
Although I do respect everybody's opinion because some people think something is a positive and other people think things are a negative. So I respect
This is
each
very true.
other's opinions regardless of what it is. So you can't just single file say, well, that's a positive thing and let it be a ripple effect. It depends on whatever your level
This
of
is a good
positivity
point.
is. It
Very
is.
good point.
So, with that being said, this was a very positive moment all around. We honored the
Yeah.
married people, we honored single people, and then the people in the restaurant had a little bit of an experience of
Was this
being
it? This
like,
was in Fire Island?
no, this was at a restaurant on the South Shore today that
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I'm allowed to promote or pump or blast
Probably
businesses.
not. Probably
So I'm
shouldn't
not,
mention businesses or such without permission.
right. So I'm not going to say anybody's business, but we were at this
Okay.
really nice establishment on the South Shore, and there was boats going by, and the Fire Island ferries were going by. So we were all cheering, and me, being the loudmouth that I am, was like, "Yes!" screaming, and then everybody else
You're
started.
very loud. But
I'm
I'm also
extremely loud.
loud, but in a very specific way.
But okay, so let me just
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
this thought I have because I start yelling, right? And I'm like, yeah, everybody's just married. Woo, everybody else starts yelling. They didn't even realize that there was a boat that said just married, yet they just heard Nicole yelling and everybody else started yelling, which is also very fun and exciting. But on the contrary to that, is also a little scary because it's like, does anybody take a look at what they're actually yelling at? You're just
Yeah.
jumping right in
Like, what if you were
to
cheering something that's like,
really
if you
bad.
weren't a good person and like you're cheering on something that's like really bad? Yeah.
Right. And like that's how quickly people do a chain reaction of
Oh
something
my gosh,
because
groupthink is real, and I'm gonna write groupthink down so we can revisit that.
okay, I like it, write it down. So obviously my intentions are good and I focus my intentions and my energy towards things that are gonna bring a very well rounded point of view to all aspects of any conversation. That's kind of like where I love to live in my spaces. You ever see the movie Little Nicky?
Oh my god. No. But it's
What?
so crazy that you said that right now
What?
because somebody was just talking to me about Little Nicky. And
Okay.
okay, so I'm going to sound irritated right now because
Tell me. Tell me.
this is why I'm sounding irritated right now. It's because I can't even tell you how many times things happen, right? Or like somebody brings something up that I was just talking about with somebody else, and I'm like, this is a simulation. Do you understand? This is not real. This is just
Synchronicity.
it's synchronicity, but in a like, it's like too like I believe that there's more to the universe that we understand. So when things like this happen, and when I'm saying things like, oh, that something's not real, and then something happens connected with that conversation of like, I'm pretty sure this is a simulation that there's aliens and that kind of stuff. And then something happens, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like what?
What? Who's listening?
Who's-
What's happening? Okay.
I'm totally
so
being Truman Showed constantly.
as
It's like, can you write something new, please? Like that's what I.
so our brains, right? We attract what we think about. We're
Oh, boy.
we're very strong. Our minds are stronger than anything. Like mind over matter, right?
Yes,
So our
that's very
minds
true.
are very, very powerful things. So what we think about constantly and what we allow our thoughts to go to is what we end up eventually attracting into our lives, or where we put the focus of energy. So I'm going back to Little Nicky for a minute. And Little Nicky is a movie with Adam Sandler, and his mom is an
Okay.
angel, and his dad is the devil, and they like
Okay.
have a baby. They have a baby, and it's Little Nicky. And Little Nicky is like he's got such pure intentions, but he does have like hellfire
like-
in him. It's like the
Hellfire.
perfect balance of good and bad, or whatever, good and bad, light and dark, however contract you want to put it. And I'm a huge
Is he a
huge fan.
person, or is he like
He's
a
a-
demon, or is he an angel?
No, he's a person. Like he can
Okay.
go to Earth, he could go to hell, he could go to heaven, he could go anywhere he wants because he is
He's
of both worlds.
okay. Got it.
And because he's capable of the hellfire, he chooses the
He's
light.
capable
You know
of
what I
the
mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I love about Little Nicky is that like he's capable of the hellfire, but he chooses the light. And I think that's really important is having the choice of choosing the light because we are all capable. And I literally wear my darkness on my sleeve. Like I have Michael Myers tattooed on my body because I think our darkness is which whatever gets us through our darkness is our light. And
Yes.
owning that and owning whatever our insecurities are, owning what things that made us.
Oh, that's a lot to own. Oh, that's a lot
Oh.
of that. That's a you. What, are you a hoarder of insecurities? Like that's how I feel.
Are you a part of insecurities? Is there a dead cat in there? I found
There
one.
is actually. I do have a dead cat. My Sasha. Her ashes are right here.
Oh, you do.
I know. It's. Do you have a dead cat there? Yeah. Oh, I love my dead cat. She was the best. Okay. She died last
Oh,
September.
She was the best. You love that cat.
She
brought
was
you
so
much joy.
funny.
Totally R.I.P. to Sasha.
We love you, Sasha.
But wait, what were we just saying? Going back.
We were
this
talking
is-
about. I wrote groupthink down.
Like we're gonna lose track of things. We're
This
gonna
is-
figure it out.
It's called unstructured and unsupervised. It's playtime. It's whatever. You were talking
It
about wearing the
is.
darkness, insecurities, and then you were talking about.
insecurities and like owning the stuff that like for me at this point in my life at 34 years old, this is the first time I feel the most comfortable in my own skin.
Yes,
And
same
feeling like
for me.
my insecurities and anything that has
How old am
ever
I?
been like looked as a bad thing of myself, like
33.
on a wait, say that. What did you?
I'm trying to figure out how old I am again.
How old are you?
I'm 33 right now. I forget my age a lot. I normally think that I'm older than I am.
That's great that you forget your age because age is just a number. It doesn't
It
even
is.
matter. It's your energy
It
that you
surprises
exude
people
in
all the
this
time.
world.
My
Of how
energy
you want
is
it.
definitely not 33-year-old energy, whatever that means, in terms of
My-
stereotype.
well, half of my energy is like 97 years old, and she's like a crotchety old lady. And the other part of me is three, like 3 years old. Like, I want it. I want to do
Like you're
it now.
talking about like ego versus superego versus id stuff there.
I was talking about like old lady versus like toddler, but
I don't know where I am.
ego versus soul, empathy versus narcissism, whatever,
Mm.
good versus evil, Jesus versus the devil, whatever you want to call it. They're all representations of one another,
Yeah,
and they're all in existence, and they all have to play nice with one another. And I
they
think
should.
that
They don't.
I think we're lying to one another when we don't say that both of those things exist in each and every one of us, and learning
Oh,
to
definitely.
take the bar the I don't even I'm not going to even categorize them as bad parts of ourselves, but parts of ourselves that we no longer resonate with or feel like, you know what, like maybe I know for myself that I was kind of uh, raised by someone who had very narcissistic tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
a lot, and had struggled with
Mm-hmm.
addiction for a lot of life. And those thoughts and those patterns kind of became what I saw to be normal,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the environment I
That's
grew
what
up
you.
in.
That's what you learned, and
So that's
that
what I learned.
is so important to know. That like a lot of people don't get that.
And they don't nobody acknowledges or talks about it enough. So to
Oh
say,
yeah, no,
hey,
definitely
guess
not.
what, you know, yeah, I own my narcissistic tendencies that were once instilled on me from someone else, and that I thought that these things were okay, and these were moments of my life that this was a very normal situation in my life, that I never thought twice about it until I started to meditate, until I started to really check in with myself, to really go inwardly to my gut, to my heart, to my mind, and really say what really resonates with me and what belongs to,
Other
my
people.
ancestors,
Yeah.
or there are people that instilled this in me. And then
Yeah.
once I started to go in with myself, I was like, no, that's not my truth. These are not my beliefs. These are not things that I truly believe in. I trust my own gut. I trust myself in these situations. So now you and I have practiced Reiki together. We practice meditation together. And I would love to hear what your concerns and your thoughts are on a topic like this of narcissism versus empathy, because I feel like I'm very capable of both of those two things. And
Mm-hmm.
there is totally a way to have a healthy balance between the two, because you need the ego in order to protect yourself and protect your soul.
Yes. I I have so many feelings on that on that kind of stuff. I mean like and you know this, but I'm just going to say it because this is our new podcast where it's like
What?
I've been working on myself so much like for a long time, but especially this year especially was like a very important year for me. I really actually started to like myself this year. And it's so funny because what do I do on Thursday afternoons? I go to therapy or I have my therapy session. Do you do this for phone or do you do this? I
Um,
do this too. Because it's like
this
I
is
grew up with the house phone, you take it off the wall and it looks like that. Like, huh?
I think I
And then
pick
you
it still up off the rotary phone because I'm an old lady.
I do this. So anyways, I
Okay.
had my therapy phone call with my therapist before this show, basically. And I was talking to her today about, oh, thank you for your comment, Lauren. She says, have a great show. Much success to both of you. Have a great night. Smiley face.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
So I was telling her, it's so annoying to me that I can say that, like, I can say very confidently, like, I hated myself until this year. Easily. Because for so many reasons. And I feel like we don't have a lot of time to get into all the reasons. But I'm sure that we
Well,
will explore all
we
the
have a
reasons.
whole
We
podcast
have
of
the
everything to
whole
get into.
entirety of our lives until we don't have any more time. But
Right.
anyways, I was like, I said to her, when I say to people, oh yeah, I started liking myself this year, I always hated myself. People are like, what? Why? What? No, you did it. And it's like, I want you to believe what I say. because one of the reasons why I learned to be like that is because people wouldn't believe what I said. So fucking believe what I gotta say. And then it has value. And then I'm not like, you know, it's just kind of like the perception of how, like, being the way that people perceive me is something that, like, oh, I'm very aware. I'm like too aware of it.
I feel you.
I'm like, like I said, do you hoard insecurities? It's like, yeah, I've been in therapy for like 10 years. And that is after having worked on myself without, like, because I was someone that was like, I don't need to go. I am smart enough to figure this out. Like, I know what my problems are. And it's like, yes, but I didn't have anyone to learn it from in a healthy way, without making other things, without exacerbating other, I hate that word, it sounds so weird, other things about.
For masturbating, that's why.
I mean, but masturbating's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like it's like the sir part. It's like, I don't have a problem with men. It's just like, I don't like that it's how it's spelled. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for watching. She likes our podcast.
Oh, my aunt. Hi, Aunt Sandra.
Oh, hi, Aunt Sandra.
What up?
Hi. So I've been working on myself a lot this year to kind of really question, like, I was like, oh, let's try the thing that I've never done, which is like myself. You know? Oh, what isn't working? Like, why am I still at this, like, level of, fuck, I hate this.
So let me
because
ask you, what would you say within your most comfortability right now, or uncomfortability, whatever feels true to you, like, what was one of the biggest self-actualizations this year that was like, okay, I have to own this and I need to understand it better about myself, that helped move you forward into liking forward? And
okay, that's very easy. I have ADHD. That is a very new diagnosis. And it was, I was like with someone last year who has ADHD, and they would talk about their life or their experience, and every so often they'd say, sorry, I'm sorry, like something would happen and they'd react in this way of like, and I'd be like, what's the matter? And they would respond like, well, normally people don't have patience for this. The way that I do this, the way that I think about things, the way that I operate. And it was very important for me to hear that, because I was like, I mean, that's how I do things. I'm kind of like all over the place all the time, and people just kind of accept it. I don't know, it's just because like, oh, that's Katrina, she's woo, whatever. And it's like, that's true. Okay, so maybe this is something I've never really considered before. I have ADHD. I've adapted my life over 30 whatever years to kind of accommodate that without realizing, like, without knowing that about myself and, like, accepting it and, like, being like, all right, no, it's okay. The world is not built for me. I have to figure out my own way. And so this year I started, like, actually, and I told the story to you, I think, but I'll tell it anyways. For viewers! I went to my psychiatrist's office. I was like, hey, I need to refill my panic attack medication. Also, I think I should be evaluated for ADHD. And my psychiatrist was like, oh, why? Why do you think that you need to be evaluated for ADHD? And I was like, well, and then I talked for half an hour straight. And then I took a moment to think about the next thing that I was going to say. And he was like, just so you know, we're doing the evaluation right now. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I think probably sounds like you have ADHD. You would fall under the category of somebody that wouldn't have been diagnosed until, later in life, because you are a girl woman. You uh, are a people pleaser. You are intelligent. You have the social skills of, normally people who get diagnosed earlier, it's because there's a behavioral issue, or, there's an otherwise, like, um, there's a problem that makes work or school a problem.
Right.
And it's like, well, I mean, I had tons of problems in those places too, for all sorts of reasons. But I always was trying to, like, be the good girl, like, be the good kid, like, try to, you know.
I get 100% what you're saying. I feel very relatable to that in the sense of a few months ago, I too was dating somebody who is brilliant in so many different ways, and kind of opened my eyes to myself, and I thank him tenfold for the amount of self-actualization that I had to come to terms with for myself, because as a child I was diagnosed with ADHD. My mom kind of was like, she's above this. She doesn't have this. She's beyond it. That was, I think that's the
Mm,
terminology. Like,
beyond
she's beyond.
it.
And who knows? Maybe she's right. Maybe she's wrong. I don't know. I definitely am far out. I'll tell you that much. I make Pluto look close. And I just am like figuring it out now. And I remember as a child, like hiding. I would hide in my closet. I would hide under a table. I would hide.
Oh yeah, me
Um,
too.
in my dad's restaurant, there was this like, there was a closet that had like a little hidden closet in that closet. And I would go
Closet
and
in a
hide in there.
closet.
Like I just never wanted to be found. I didn't want anybody to like talk to me or to hear me or to see me or do anything, because when I did speak up or when I did talk, like my mom was notorious for being somebody to be like, she'd be on the phone with so and so and she'd be like, "Oh, Nicole says hi." And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I didn't say hello." Like
Right.
I always like would call out things that weren't true. I'd be like, "That's not what happened. That's not what you said. That's not like." I've been like, I was always a very difficult, what seemed like a difficult child, but I was just so literal about things at times, and so
Well, you were
just
very truthful.
straightforward
Like
about
you were like, it seemed to me like in that, and this is something I think like a lot of girls experience of, like, your opinion doesn't matter, or like how you see things, or how people, like your reaction to how people treat you doesn't matter. Like
it.
I
Right.
it's like I feel very strongly about that kind of stuff, for sure. Did you freeze? It seems like you may have frozen because I don't hear you.
Well, I feel like,
Oh.
did you hear me? Oh, wait, hold on. Can you hear me? Papa, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you now.
Can you hear
I can hear
me?
you now.
Um, so having an older generation, and I was raised practically by a nanny most of my life, so I spent a lot of time with someone who wasn't even my own parent, and she was like in her like mid 60s when I was 3 months old.
Okay. You may have frozen again. You have definitely frozen again.
So I spent a lot of time with this woman who, was, hold on. Can you hear me? Why is it
Yeah.
freezing?
I think maybe you're
Can I
moving
do?
your computer too much.
All right, hold on. Let me just leave it.
Oh, turn off your video and then turn it back on.
Oh wait, hold on. What do I do?
Video
Off
off and
video.
back on. Do 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 do
Am
do.
I back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I'm saying, like, coming from an older generation of people, there's a very, the child should be, you speak when you're spoken to sort of thing, or like, I know what's best for you. And I was always, from a young age, was like, I want to know, I know what I need. Like, when I was little, I had to have two bottles. I needed like water and I needed juice. Like, I needed like two of everything. I've always been like a contrast of a kid of like, I need both. And I
I
just
get
feel
that.
like coming into this newfound glory, if you will, bring it to the 90s, to into myself of being like, okay, having these two dualities live together now and honoring the fact that it exists, and I'm not beyond it, I'm not above it, I'm just in it. I'm in it, and I'm honoring it and accepting it because I masked myself for so
Oh,
long,
yeah.
which made me feel like such a
Yeah, me too.
liar. Like I was lying to
Yeah.
myself and I was lying to the people
Ugh.
around me to the point that they didn't even know who I was because anytime I showed
Yep.
my true colors, I made people uncomfortable. I made
Yep.
people feel like uh I rock the boat or I make waves or it's too much. How many times I've been
I
told,
totally understand that too. Like, because as, like, for me, telling, like, friends and family about, like, my life, like, hey, like, this year, when it's like, hey, okay, let me actually stop trying to hide anything that I've ever experienced, any amount of, like, trauma, anxiety, identity issues, environmental issues, like, people were shocked. And it's like, it's kind of weird to like say something to someone that means so much and have the reaction of like, oh, I had no idea. Because on one hand it's like, yeah, you didn't have any idea because I didn't want you to have an idea, and I've been doing this for so long of just,
right. And
you're not
the
going to know this
weight
because
of
it's
it,
a form of protection. And then
right.
being like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do that.
Totally,
And then
totally
it's
get
just
that.
like,
And the weight of holding it into yourself and holding on to all those things, like the anxiety and the depression and all of
it
these things that come with
sucks.
inside of it is like you don't
Insecurity.
want to share that with people. You don't want them to
No.
see you that way. You don't want to make them nervous. You don't want to make them scared. You don't want to make them be like, oh my God. So now you're pretending everything is okay.
Everything's great.
But when everything's great, I'm wonderful. I wear the biggest smile. I'm so happy. And it's like, no,
Why do you think I laughed so loud?
like you just, but now I feel like coming into our own and really being comfortable in our own skin, like that laughter is truth now. Like that laughter comes from a place of really enjoying the fact that you're coming into your own and coming into life and knowing who you are.
That's like, I would
And
say my laugh is the like truest thing about me for sure.
I love that. My
It's
death stare is the
that
truest thing
your
about me.
death
I'm like,
stare.
yeah, like don't, like okay.
Okay.
Like my laugh, like I could laugh, but I don't laugh that hard at a lot of things. Like it has to like really make me, like I have to really resonate
I'm
with
an
it
easy
to like
laugh.
belly laugh. Like I don't know why. I try to laugh more. I laugh
Hmm.
internally a lot. Like I'm like, "Oh, that was funny." Like that was like that and then like I
Oh,
go off into this
interesting.
whole story of like how something made me laugh and then I'll be like, "Oh my God, this is why it's so funny to me." And I relate it to this and then I bring it back to that and I'm like, "Oh, da, 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 da." And by the time I've made sense of it, like it's already gone
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Does anyone even care about what I just made sense of in my brain about why you laugh?" I don't know.
Yeah.
So, again, it's
We were talking
sometimes
about masking though.
yes, talking about masking. I'm trying not to mask things
Yeah.
anymore, and I'm trying to be really honest with myself and the people around me, regardless if they are comfortable or uncomfortable with what I have to say. For me, at this point in
Yes.
my
Which
life,
is very important. Because a
it
lot
is
of people, and this is so funny in a way, because okay, so I'm not a horror movie person. And, like, I just watched, what's it called? Midsummer the other day.
okay. I've never
Loved
seen
it.
it.
I freaking loved it because, like, the protagonist or the main female character, she goes through the worst and ends up like going to this place. I don't want to spoil anything. But anyways, I was very happy to see how her character was portrayed because I very much closely identified with the feeling of somebody else making a decision for you. Meaning, okay, I'm going to stay in a relationship because you won't be able to handle things. You can't. You need. Oh, I gotta stay with her because. And it's like, no, you're taking away her ability to get better because you're not actually able to genuinely care about her needs, because if you did, then you would leave so that she could know that, okay, I need something more. But that doesn't mean like you need to like in staying with somebody that you don't want to stay with, you are abandoning them. You are choosing you are choosing, you are not thinking about them like what they want. You're thinking about what you think they want. When you stay with somebody that you don't want to be with, you are abandoning them. You just don't realize it. You're just doing an action that's different than what most people associate abandonment with. So that's what I
Interesting.
think about. We were talking about masking though. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's fine. It's like unmasking of, and it's it's so it's like it's so funny the symbolism and like what's actually going on in the world too right now about like people
Oof,
physically
the
wearing
world.
masks on their face versus being
Oh
like
yeah.
unmasked. And it's like
I don't want
I
it.
I think I take I'm not trying to like go into a whole topic about that, but just the
I
symbolism.
don't want it.
No, I'm not.
I don't
But
want to
like
think about it.
the symbolism of putting a mask on your face versus not wearing a mask on your face is still it's just a tangible
It's
expression.
like it's to protect yourself. Like that's or at least
Right,
you're trying to protect yourself
right.
or
And then
protect
when
others.
but exactly. So now you're trying to protect yourself and you're trying to protect others, correct. But once when you take it into the situation of what you and I are talking about, ADHD, and how long we've masked
Yeah.
ourselves for, and unveiling ourselves from this mask and living in our truth and living into what we really truly believe to help us not feel afraid to be who we truly are anymore
Uh-huh.
is is a stance in itself and to be honored, I
Hold on a
believe.
second.
So
I have to
what?
like I can't think about this kind of I have to like I like understand the analogy, but I need to like somehow move past it because I'm stuck in it.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
I get that.
Okay, wait. So, and this is does this happen to you with ADHD like hyper focusing on stuff? Cuz I know like not everybody who
I'm hyper vigilant. Like I focus in on everybody's facial expressions.
you
I
yeah,
focus
you
on
know everything that is happening with everyone's emotions at any time.
any
Definitely.
given moment. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. I could assess the situation. I know, like,
Yeah.
especially like being in a restaurant, growing up in a restaurant, like you have to anticipate people's needs before they need it. Like I've been conditioned to be on top of everybody's needs before they even happen. And that's probably just that's a narrative that I am working on trying to change so that I don't have to spend so much energy on the outside of other people's
Because it
um
do you feel that it takes away from your experience because you aren't like your like locus of attention is locus focus hocus
like
pocus
I could be like if we're in a restaurant and there's a crowd of people around, like somebody could be talking to me directly and
but you're hearing it. Yeah.
I could hear all the other conversations that are going on except for the person that's in front of me. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. But like if you were talking to me and I was looking over there, then I could hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I'm being rude. So now I'm like, okay,
Right.
let me look at you. I have to look at you. I'm looking at you. I am looking at you. I'm listening. I'm listening. Please listen.
But also there's like the discomfort of like, oh, I I'm like trying. But okay, there's discomfort in trying to do
Right. And
something that doesn't
now,
come naturally.
correct.
And it's
And
not
on
like a
top,
bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
no, it's not a bad thing. But on the contrary to that, like I have to call myself on my own shit is like I was somebody who's very, very hard on other people who had ADHD when I didn't even acknowledge this parts about myself because I've
Oh,
masked myself
interesting.
so much.
But
I
that's a
masked
very common like psychological response to anything of just be like like seeing something that you don't accept in yourself in somebody else that has that and like not
totally.
and then like pushing against it so much.
Right. It like it threw me for a loop. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. Like I just left the situation because I was just like, I don't know how to handle this. And like now sitting with myself and acknowledging and taking a minute to be like, wait a minute, what really happened inside of you, Nicole? What were you really
Yeah.
feeling right
Why
then and
was
there?
I
And
uncomfortable? Yeah.
why was I so uncomfortable in this? And it was because I do all of, he was a living expression of all the things that I was hiding within myself. So I had no idea how to even cope or understand it or be patient with it is the word.
Mm.
Be patient and understanding of it. I was like, well, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm pushing through. I'm making it through to the other side of this. I'm fine. People can do this. And that was so selfish on my part. That was so selfish on my part. And I had to like really understand that and know like, okay, I didn't do that. I never got a chance to tell him this. I wanted to. I hope he's watching and he gets to hear what I have to say. But I felt bad about that. I felt like and now trying to give myself that own patience and compassion of like, it's okay, Nicole, when I would mess something up, I was so hard on myself. Like, I was
Oh, yeah,
like,
me
no,
too.
I have to get this perfect. I have to make it right. Everything has to get done is specifically a certain way. And if it doesn't get done this way,
Yeah,
then
like,
I'm
oh my, I fucked it up. Fuck
I'm
it.
wrong. Yeah. Like, I couldn't fuck anything up. Nothing could be wrong. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
And
Take it
then you
easy.
put
Like,
this layer, you put more and more layers over yourself of like, I couldn't
right.
handle this.
And then like lately, like
It doesn't
at
help.
my job, if I answered the phone and like like told me their phone number 3 times, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I would be like, I used to get mad at them for not being patient with me versus going, hey, I'm dyslexic. I'm really sorry. Thank you for your patience for repeating this back to me 3 times and learning to like change myself in the
Mm-hmm.
situation to go, thank you for being patient with me. I sometimes have trouble with numbers. Like, and now I've learned how to like accept that about myself rather than hate it for so long and then be mad at them
Yeah.
for like, not being patient or understanding.
Yeah. It's so easy
You
to
know?
like take something that you consider a flaw because other people think it's a flaw and like make it worse for yourself. You're like,
Right.
oh, it's a flaw? Yes, it is!
Right. So, I mean, I can't even sit here and say that I'm not guilty of being somebody who did that. I am. And it's like, I
Yeah, me
think
too.
that's the most important thing is being able to say that stuff to yourself and being like, I'm guilty of that. Yes, I did something wrong. I was wrong in a sense, and not that I didn't know any better at that
Yeah.
time. Now I do. Like now I go, okay, well, wait a minute. This challenged me. This gave me a new opportunity to take a look at myself even deeper. Nobody's in my life for no reason. These things don't happen for no reason. What's the message? What's the lesson to learn in this? And then you move forward in it. And
Yeah.
that's where I feel like that now is like finally going, okay, I'm so grateful for that experience. It may not have worked out for a long term, but in that
You learn
time, I
something
learned
very, very important.
very, very,
Yeah.
very, very, very valuable to move forward in the rest of my life and be compassionate and understanding and patient is the best word with myself because for a long time I was not patient with myself. There was never a time where I mean lately over the past 5 years after
Yeah.
doing
Same.
meditation I checked in with myself. I'm going, okay, what do you need today? What do you want today? What do you
Yeah. Oh my
actively
gosh.
want?
Being nice to yourself, like that's a new thing for me.
But but once you
I'm
get
so nice
to
to
it,
everybody else. But like I mean, and this is so it's kind of funny because this is why for this podcast I was like, "Oh, this is good because I know that it's hard for me to be accountable to myself." Like, "Oh, I'm going to set the schedule for myself so that I do things that it's like I know that it works. Like you set a schedule, you do stuff, and then you go forward. I know that it works. But having had like such like this point of view of myself for so long of like, well, whatever. Like what other people are more important. Just do what other people want to do. Don't like it doesn't matter what you want because it doesn't matter what you want. So like um I lost it. Hold on. It was I was talking about what was I talking about?
holding yourself accountable.
Accountability. Yeah. So because you're here, this is, and I'm very grateful for you doing this
Same.
because I know like okay no, I have to make sure I show up for for you,
And I have to show up for you.
and it's like it's much harder for me. Like if you weren't here, and if I was like I'm gonna do and I did do this, I'm gonna do this every week at this time. It's so much easier to be like, well, eh.
You'll do it.
I'll
You'll
do it. I'll
procrastinate.
just do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Need
Having
that
someone
pressure.
to hold yourself accountable to definitely helps. And showing up for one another, because showing up for one another is ultimately helping us show up for ourselves and being nice to
Yes.
ourselves.
And learning,
Um, that,
yes.
that's what you started to say, is being nice to
Yes,
yourself. And
yes.
I feel like for the first time in a really long time, like I'm not even saying, like, I'm at a point where, like, I do love myself. Like I love myself. I love showing up to life. I love showing up to laugh. I love showing up to experience. I love the unknown
Yes.
of things. I love life. And my friends always laugh at me because I fall in love so easily with everything and everyone and every moment, because I'm very much in love with myself these days. So I fall in love with all
Well, you're
moments
like
in
very
life.
curious about all these things. And
I'm
so it's
super
like, yeah,
curious about
you,
everything all the time.
yeah, me too.
So and I guess my sense of idea of love isn't the most traditional in a way, although it's like
Same.
in a relationship you'd be surprised. I'm like, and my jealousy is crazy. I'm like I'm super jealous in a relationship, and
Okay.
that's something I know it's so weird, but like I have to work on. Like when I'm alone, I feel like, oh, I'm alone. I don't have to worry about like anybody else. I trust myself. I trust my intuition. I know what I'm going to bring to the table for myself. I know what I'm capable of loving and doing and honoring within myself. And if somebody's not going to give that to me the same way I'm giving it to me, then I'm already putting it out there that like they're not capable of that.
Right.
Or,
And like if
you know,
you have lived in a way, like, I mean, because you said that you had a parent that was not like seeing who
she
you
was
were, or
very
like not
truthful
like
and
giving what you need. Yeah, it's kind of like you learn this expectation to like accept less from people, or like that other people aren't gonna. It's like you just can't trust people to show up the way that you need them to show up, and it's like
right,
that's really hard to like unlearn and like relearn in a good way.
right.
Which is
And
like that's why there's so
and
many
and be
relationship
patient
issues.
with it
Mm-hmm.
and explain it to people in a relationship, because unless you've lived it and been through it yourself, like you don't really understand it, and
Right.
you don't get what it's like to have to, you know. And I'm an only child, so I spend so much time alone in my own head, that I've been alone since I was young. Like I was never
Right.
around like a lot of kids. I was never around like children growing up. I was always around adults. My dad owned a restaurant. I was in an atmosphere where adults and drinking and music and partying, and my parents at that
It's like
in the
childhood
80s,
is like not there.
it wasn't there. It didn't
Yeah.
exist for me. I was an adult very quickly, and then especially
Right.
when things happened, you know, my one parent who was you know, an addict, like I grew up very quickly with her, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like trying to take care of her versus myself, and her needs always became the primary. And you know, at this point in my life, like her and I have a very different relationship now, and that'll be something that she knows that I'm going to be talking about on the podcast, is our relationship and the foundation of it, and growing in a different dynamic now, and things that happen, and setting boundaries with people
Boundaries are
is really
important.
on. Boundaries
So
are
important.
super important, and you know, setting those things up for ourselves is really the foundation of our relation. Boundaries within ourselves sets the foundation for the boundaries that we have with other people. So when
Boundaries
you
within
honor yourself in
ourselves.
those things, yeah,
I was just thinking about that phrase. Boundaries within ourselves. Like recognizing what you're like who you are versus somebody else. Like, oh, is that what I want or is that what somebody else wants?
recognizing when your need for a boundary needs to be set. Like for instance, if my mom called me 3 or 4 times a day, I'm not okay with you calling me 3 or 4 times a day anymore. That's unacceptable for me. That stresses me out and brings me anxiety more
Yeah.
than it brings me peace and joy. So for me, it's like I'm comfortable talking to you every other day or every 3 days. That's a comfort zone for me. But to speak multiple times a day, that is way too much. So, you know, like that's just an example of something
Right.
to use to just say, like to set a
Yeah.
boundary, like where I'm comfortable within myself. And you know what? You're going to piss a lot of people off. They're going to be angry with you. They're going to tell you that you're wrong. They're going to try
Yeah.
and guilt you. They're going to try to shame you. They're going to do everything in their power to
People do everything that they can to control other people.
they do
Everything.
everything in their power to try and control other people. And like
I hate it.
when you're uncontrollable, you piss people off. And
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm sorry to that
Yeah, you don't need to
because
say it's
I'm
hard.
not
Yeah.
sorry. I am
Maybe I'm
definitely one
sorry.
that I stay in my stance and I trust myself and trust that I know what is best for myself, where a lot of people put their their trust and their faith into something external and
Yes.
whatever that may be, and not really even know what's in their own best interest because they've had so many other people tell them for
Yeah,
them
and
what's
not allowed themselves to figure that out.
and make the space for
Mhm.
themselves to figure out what it is that they really need or want. They just
Yeah.
go with whatever somebody's telling them to
It's
do.
like this is fine. It's like that dog
And
that's like surrounded by all the flames. Like this is fine.
fire,
I don't even like coffee. I'm drinking this.
like, and that's the thing is like, that's so funny. That's been a funny thing that a group of people that I once spent time with was like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. Things are fine. And it's like, I don't really want to
Is it
live
like
there
is
anymore. I
it?
don't want to live in an environment where like it's not okay for me. Like I'm actually not okay with this. And because I'm standing up for myself and saying what my truth is in it,
People get
it's like
upset.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
I'm okay with being there.
This sounds. Oh my gosh. This makes me think of my first like big breakup of just like I'm the asshole because I was the one that was like, hey, we're not happy
Right.
anymore, and it's not even that I don't love this person. Hey, this is
You
not.
can love these people with all your heart. You could literally
Yeah.
be like, "Oh my God, I love you so much," but in my soul and in my gut, it's like
It's like something's not.
it
Yeah.
doesn't like me. I still love you. I still respect you. I still want to see you thrive. I still want to see everything about what goes on in your life to be fucking incredibly
Yeah.
amazing. But just for me, like this doesn't work for me, and that's
Right.
okay. Like being okay with something that doesn't work for you, and like people not being so judgmental about it. Like if somebody turned around to me and was like, "Listen, I don't like the way that you're doing this, da, 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 and I'm not comfortable with it," my answer would be like, "I totally respect that, and if you're uncomfortable with it, then you really don't have to be around me anymore. That's
And that's
fine."
like
Like
a
maybe
very, very like you know who you are. Like that's really good. That's
right.
really hard to do.
I know it is, and
Yeah.
I'm fucking proud of it.
Yeah,
I
you should
have
be.
no doubt
I
about
can't do
standing
that yet.
hours. My skin is thick, and I'm like my woman stand. Well, not just woman stance, because I have a split duality of my divine masculine and my divine feminine are together. I just wrote my divine masculine and my divine feminine, because right and left put together are in equal balance with one another. I honor the shit out of both of them, and I stand in my truth and I stand in my power, and I'm riding my own wave, and I'm gonna have fun along the way with it, like I just am.
Yes.
So anybody who is on their path or their journey for whatever that means to them, I respect you. I understand where you're at. I want everyone to thrive in what is the absolute best for themselves, because when you are in the stance of your own self and what is in the best interest of yourself, it can't do anything but shine the truth and the light from your heart, your mouth, your mind, your body, your soul, outwardly, rippling effect
I
around the
want to just
people you.
add because I think we're about to be done. I
Okay.
want to just add too. People who have been not people who don't understand unconditional love. Like people who never received unconditional love know what unconditional love is because they didn't get it.
Fucking clap that shit.
That's it.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes. Unconditional love
Unconditional love.
is accepting people exactly where they are, for exactly who they are, for exactly what they are,
Without putting anything on them.
without putting anything on them,
Yeah.
without telling them what to do, without you could voice your opinions to people, but at the end of the
Right.
day, say, this is how I feel about it. Ba 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 ba. At the end of the day, it's your decision. I respect whatever your decision is. I still gonna love you regardless of what it is,
You know what
and
that
we're done.
sound means?
I can't wait until next Thursday to do this all over again with you. I love the
Yes.
improvisational of life, and I love you, and I love what we are about and what
I love
we're
you.
doing.
This was
So
lovely.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
You
you
never know
for
how much
making
charm you have
that.
left.
That's right. Never know.
Bye.
Bye.